Justice League Dark number 23.3, aka Eclipso, written by Dan DiDio, art by Philip Tan. So, who here remembers the Black Diamond probability? Because this book is the only thing I've ever seen mention it. So, we open up meeting a man named Gordon Jacobs. He apparently is a world-famous solar scientist, and he had this idea to build a solar city. And it failed, and a lot of people died, and he is now a laughingstock in the scientific community. And we see that he is basically just locked himself in his house and is refusing to leave. So one day, UPS guy shows up, and he's like, "Hey, I got a package for you. They're super insistent you get it. I even require a signature." And he just grabs the box, closes the door, and the guy's like, "My signature." So he goes in and he opens it up and he pulls out the Black Diamond and he says, yes, it says that there's a curse on this, but I have a theory that it will be the cure to all of my problems." And so he goes to his computer, starts up a web chat with some dude here named Jonah something. Who cares? Jonah Bennett, that's it. And he's like, "Hey, I found it. I got the Black Diamond." And Jonah's like, "Dude, I don't want anything to do with you. You are bad news." And he's like, no, you gotta hear me out. The Black Diamond, it's totally what we need to make this work. And he's like, "You're like, I have indulged your delusions enough. You were engaged to marry my daughter after all, and then your insanity ruined that and has broken her heart. I don't want anything to do with you." And he's like, "What do you mean was engaged? I thought that was still on." He's like, "Seriously? You still think that was on? We haven't seen you in months, dude. Don't call us anymore." And as he's yelling at this guy over the screen saying like, "Oh, you can't treat me this way," the Black Diamond starts whispering to him saying like, "Oh, hang up on him. Screw him. Forget him. He's not worth it." So then he looks inside the Black Diamond and we see inside is Eclipso. And he's like, "Hey, buddy, I'm here to help you out." So he shuts off the web chat with Jonah and starts talking to the Diamond. And inside, Eclipso is like, "Hey, yeah, I'm Eclipso. I'm here to be your servant. See, me and you, we were both like really betrayed, and we're now we're imprisoned in these four walls. And so yeah, we're totally buddies now. You can trust me." And he says, "Okay, well, who are you?" And the guy explains, or sorry, Eclipso explains, "I am the first shadow. When God said, 'Let there be light,' I'm the first thing that the light didn't reach." And he's like, "Oh, hold on. You're saying there's a God?" And he's like, "Yeah, but don't interrupt. I got more to my story." And then he says, "Did you read the Black Diamond probability tie-ins?" And Gordon, of course, says no, because nobody did. And he gives a whole 2-page spread here saying, "I appeared in all these books for like 2 or 3 issues, and I stuck around for like a couple minutes each time, but it never really stuck because I've been waiting for the right person. I've been waiting for you, Gordon." And so at that point, Gordon's like, "No, you don't know anything about me." And he's like, "But when you touched my diamond, I did learn everything about you and how you were a brilliant scientist and you met the love of your life and you had this idea for a solar city and then it burned to the ground and then you were an outcast and totally ashamed and then you got the diamond because you thought it would help." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess that's pretty much my life. You know everything about me now." And he's like, "Right, totally, cool. So here's the thing. I can help you get all of that back. You just need to work with me here." And he's like, "All right, what do I need to do?" And Eclipso says, "You need to use the diamond and cut yourself. Make yourself bleed." And he's like, "What? Why would I do that?" He's like, "You just got to do it. It's unlimited power. Come on, just go for it." And so he cuts his finger. And he's like, "Now what?" And he's like, "Now do it again." And he cuts himself again and again and again and again and again. Until finally his entire arm is just nothing but scratches of blood. And Gordon's like, "How many times am I going to have to do this?" And Eclipso goes, "Oh, just the once. I was just messing with you." So at that point now, he hears a car coming up the road. He knows that it's Jonah, who's concerned after he hung up all of a sudden. And Eclipso's like, "Okay, well, let me handle him. Me and you are one now. We got a blood bond. Just shut up for a bit and I'll deal with this." So Jonah makes his way into the house. He didn't realize how much of a shut-in Gordon really was. And he sees blood on the floor and he's like, "Oh, God, Gordon, if I had known you would have hurt yourself, I never would have shut you out." And then Eclipso's like, "I'm going to go ahead and doubt that. You were kind of a prick the whole time." And he says, "What? Who is that? Step out of the shadows." And he's like, "That's a funny story." So he basically says, "Hi, Gordon wanted me to talk to you. He wants you to suffer the way that you made him suffer." And so Eclipso uses his weird shadow magic stuff, grabs Jonah, and just starts like strangling him with the darkness. And then he holds up the black diamond and says, like, "Now here's the thing. This black diamond needs to feed on human life. So I'm just gonna do this." And he holds the diamond up to him and it starts draining away his life. And we just see a big old yarg. So at that point, Gordon starts to fight back. He's like, "No, what have you done?" He's like, "I just did the things that are in your subconscious." And he's like, "Yeah, but that's my subconscious. That's my conscious. I wouldn't do that for real." He's like, "Pshaw, you totally were just waiting for an excuse." So Gordon wrestles back control. We see that Eclipso is back in the diamond. And he's like, "I'm going to destroy the diamond and never let you out again." He's like, "Okay, well, if you destroy the diamond, you're going to kill yourself because we're blood linked now." He's like, "Fine, I'll bury the diamond where no one can ever find it." And he's like, "Okay, you can do that, but the father of the girl you really like just died. So why don't you go and comfort her first, and then you can worry about burying the diamond?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll worry about burying the diamond later. Let me go talk to the girl first." And then we see that, it's Eclipso controlling him. And that's the issue. I like it. I think I've always been interested in Eclipso as a character. And that was probably the most underwhelming part of the Black Diamond probability as a quote-unquote event when I covered it, just because it was not a character. It was just this abstract thing of, if you pick up the Black Diamond, you turn evil briefly. And then obviously in Sword of Sorcery, we had him be this full character. I can't even remember his name anymore, but he wasn't Eclipso. So it just seems like this is kind of a retcon issue where we're like, no, he was over in there. We're not ignoring that. But now he's got this other thing going on. And I like the idea of him, he has to use a mortal host, blah, blah, blah. It's all fine concepts. I think my biggest problem with the issue is that it's just a wall of constant exposition of people saying the things instead of like doing the things, The best kick I got out of this book was the cutting himself scene, which sounds dark saying it like that, but like it was this thing where it was like, okay, action has been taken here. We have seen something instead of just two people talking into a rock, So it's not an awful issue. I do really like the art and I like the concept of Eclipso, but I don't know. This one was just a little bit for me. That being said, I am still going to give it a straight 7. Don't ask me why. It just is where it feels like it belongs. It's maybe the art makes up for it enough, but a 7 feels good.